Hi guys, I'm Sam Ray with Square D. I'm going to walk us through our Square D SurgeLogic surge protection offer with kind of the emphasis on our residential offering today. First thing we want to go through is to understand what is surge. We know that we're protecting against it and we know it's bad, but kind of dive in a little closer to understand what exactly it is. The definition is a brief overvoltage spike or disturbance on a power waveform that can damage or destroy electronic equipment. So we know that sounds bad. They're very quick, measured in microseconds, but their overvoltage or disturbance can be huge and just wreck anything downstream. We kind of categorize them in different ways that they can originate, typically within the system or outside of the system. Most commonly we find surges originate from within their systems, so it's really important to have surge protection, throughout your electrical system. The most common sources most people don't think of are the devices that are switching on and off of power, motorized things throughout the day like ACs and whatnot, but we'll dive into that a little bit. And lightning is the typical one people think of, and then another unseen one is your utility grid switching powers or switching grids throughout the day. So why is that bad? Most appliances and devices are run by these motherboards. We've kind of got a picture here on the right. If you think about things inside your home, everything now has some sort of touch screens or small buttons. Well, those things are run by these motherboards, and these motherboards typically run on smaller control voltages of 8, 12, and 24 volts. When we've got about 120 volts coming into a home, you think about a spike over that hitting a motherboard that's running on 8 and 12 and 24 volts. These little things are only as good as their worst weld on here. So one little thing pops on this motherboard and your $600 washing machine is now a very, very large paperweight. So that's kind of a quick glimpse on what we're protecting against and why it's so bad and why it's becoming increasingly more important to watch out for it. When we bring up surge protection, typically the homeowner or electrician or most people just think, oh, lightning, that's where surge is coming from. Not typically the case, but Schneider did take this seriously and ran a study on this in Tampa Bay. Up in the top right, you can see Tampa Bay on a good day, and then Tampa Bay on this day we pulled almost 34,000 lightning strokes worth of data, and you can see where they all hit. With this data, we found kind of the sizing of lightning strikes and the size of the spikes that are coming down the line to better understand what's going on. They're measured in killiamps. We found 82% of those were under the 30 killiamp size. 98% were under 60 killiamp, and the largest one measured out of these almost 34,000 strikes was at 180 killiamps. And what's kind of difficult to see in the bottom right is kind of what happens if there were a direct hit on a utility pole. Not all of that, say, we're going to assume 100 kiloamps hit that pole. Not all that 100 kiloamps is going to find its way into your home. It kind of divides itself up down the lines. So we're seeing, I want to say it was 30% is going down into the home, 40% is going to ground, with the remaining 15s going down the lines. So we're really only seeing, 30% of a direct hit finding its way into its house. And with 98% under 60 killiamps, we're not looking at needing huge protection on a home. And so this kind of brings us to, where would you want to install your surge protection? we recommend having it throughout your system, as we know 60 to 80% of the surges come from within your systems. But most importantly is having one at the service entrance, closest to your main, to where you're protecting against outside surges that are going to come into your panel. It allows your system to catch that and keep it from getting onto your system, and as surges make their way back to the panel from inside, it catches it and keeps it from spreading. We also say any panels that have conductors that exit the building, so from any surges, coming from the roof or any outdoor plugs, thinking on the patio, your outdoor lighting, HVAC equipment out there, and then any panels feeding your critical loads. So let's think about critical loads for the house, your refrigerators, if you have a computer bank, or where you're plugging your cell phones, or any of your precious electronics being fed. But so this is a more commercially oriented slide. So we typically only have one panel for the house, so we put it close to the main. We hit KA rating a little bit. Just kind of understanding that surges are measured in kiloamps, and we looked at that in the lightning. But in regards to surge protection, it's also rated in kiloamps. So when looking or selecting a surge protector and going off of the kiloamp rating, this is the largest surge that device can withstand one time without essentially dying. It basically gives a lifespan to the surge protector, and it's kind of cool. These the way that we come up with this is off of the surge protection comes from little MOVs that act like big resistors and catch the surge and shunt it to ground. And so adding up the size of all these MOVs will give you the size of that surge protector. And so if we're thinking along the lines of a bunch of micro surges coming through as your AC kicks on or off, or your refrigerator creates that inrush and sends it down the line, your MOVs are going to be catching these little micro surges and throwing them down. And so as time goes on, your MOVs begin to die, which kind of gives you a lifespan of your surge protector. So it's not so much that the KA rating is trying to catch the biggest surge. It's just the larger it is, the longer it's going to last with the micro surges, if that makes sense. Moving on. So kind of the philosophy on our design and in creating these surge protectors, our main goal was the safety behind this, especially in industrial and commercial settings where you're playing with larger voltages than probably in your house, but designed with the same thing in mind, to where you're not in front of live parts. We're meeting and exceeding all UL requirements in surge protection. The performance, we're trying to be the best in the market, just to last longest, and protect all the equipment downstream. But most importantly for me is our idea on containment. Every SPD unit or surge protection unit that we sell is designed to fail inside of the enclosure that it comes in. So every plastic piece, every unit that you have and can hold in your hand, if it is going to fail, you will not have pieces come outside of that plastic enclosure. Other competitors will sell them in extra enclosures, metal ones or anything, so that they're designed to fail within that one, making them a little larger, but gives you there's an opportunity of their devices exploding or having pieces, come off. Ours are designed not to do that and fail in the safest way possible, to where the only way you know something is bad is a light comes on, a red light comes on, and you've got now have a brick. But that was all designed with the safety of equipment and people in mind. So here's kind of a look at what we have to offer on our broad spectrum. Our residential products below. For the house, we have OEM products, external, and everything in between. Things that can take care of the largest industrial facility at its entrance, every piece of equipment down the line, and then just something for a whole house. So we'll kind of quickly run through. This is more commercially oriented, but it's brand new and pretty awesome. This is the surge lock for NQ panel boards. Typically, when we saw integrally mounted surge protection, we would quote an externally mounted surge protector and throw a extra circuit breaker to feed it inside of a panel, just as it was more cost effective than what our previous offer. This one's very simple to install and very, I guess, economical in the way of quoting. The plus side is it's easy to install. The downside is it takes up 12 spaces inside of a panel board. Now, so if it's an existing panel board, it's going to be hard to find 12 spaces to throw this in. But the great thing is, if it is a new panel board, our 54 circuit interior, which is 12 spaces larger than the 42, fits in the same enclosure as your 42 circuit interior. So if you were to add this, your contractor is not losing any wall space or really any circuits. He's just getting a larger interior for this to fit on. It looks great. It comes in a variety of sizes, up to 240 Ka. It can be field installed or factory assembled in with the panel. It is type 1 or type 2, meaning you can install it before a main breaker or after a main breaker. Not so much a huge deal here as it's going in a panel board, so there's already a main breaker involved somewhere. I'll kind of move on. The options, here's what it looks like in the digest. So in selecting these guys, first you want to know your voltage. Are you serving 12240 or the 208Y 120 volt? Select your surge rating or the size, which kiloamps, and then move down to the model number, and you have basically selected which surge protector you need. There's also a selector in the panel board just to add as you work up the panel board. Super easy. You'll just select the size, the kiloamp size that you require. Here's a quick visual on what we had before. The previous design required some custom bussing, added 18 inches to your panel board, just kind of looked pretty ugly. The plus side of that was there were different modules per phase, so if you lost one phase, you could change the module out. But there was also a 3-week adder to the manufacturing of this panel board. Now we've got these surge locks in stock. They plug right onto the bus, so no added lead time, no added box size, just adding a 54 circuit interior if you need all 42 circuits. So pretty incredible upgrade in my book, and we will be seeing probably a lot more of these with Title 24. But here's a quick visual on the installation. The back just has these movable jaws, as you can see, the circles 1, 2, and 3. The far circle on the right is stationary, whereas once you unscrew that little knob there, this piece will move left and right, kind of opening and closing. A saddle comes with it that sits over the part of the bus where you will place the surge protector, and the jaw bites into it You'll place the one on the far right in the panel, kind of swing it on, close the jaw on it, and tighten it after wiring it up. Super easy. I can do it, and I'm no electrician. It's man, way too easy. Another visual where the saddle is, where you would wire it and plug it on. You can also use a breaker. Not necessary, but if you want the ability to turn it on and off or give it some over voltage or short circuit protection, you can wire it to a breaker. A close-up of the diagnostic display. This will let you know that all your phases are good with green lights, and give you a run-through of how many surges each phase has seen, as well as an alarm if you were to lose a phase. So to let everyone know that, hey, it needs some attention or replacement. Kind of run down. All right, so moving into our residential surge protection. So kind of the meat of what we want to get at is our protecting our homes from transient surges. We have a great piece of literature that for us to give to our contractors might help them sell these to the homeowners. This back page is kind of gives us, I think, the best run through of our offers, what they are, kind of the good, the better, the best, and what we have to offer as well is in terms of warranty on each one of these guys. Every one of them carries some sort of warranty and I believe a money guarantee. So a very simple way for us to see what we should offer these guys, and also as well a great way to show it to the customer, and they get to see kind of what they're getting out of the whole thing. So kind of from left to right, we've got these plug-on neutral offers. They are very similar to our old surge breaker, but now with plug-on neutral have no pigtail. So they plug in like a breaker, taking up 2 spaces in either the new QO or Homeline design. Again, just plug in like a breaker, but have nothing to wire. Like super simple, and a great way to protect your house. They come in 50 kA rating, so that's a solid whole house protection. To the right here, we have some more classic units where they will wire into either a breaker or directly to the bus. The HEPD 50 and the HEPD 80. The cool thing with these is they do not care whose panel they go into or whose breaker they go into. They're designed just to protect any panel from surges. So if you have some service contractors that are going in and adding circuits or upgrading panels, these are great for them, as it doesn't matter whose panel they go into. They have a nice wall mounting kit, make about a 15-minute installation, and are super affordable for them. So kind of a close-up. Here we've got our Surge Breaker Plus. The HEPD 80 is sitting inside this guy, which is creating those 2 lights. But the plus side of this guy is we've also pulled some APC units in here to protect surges along the telephone line, the cable line, and your Wi-Fi line. So surges are all capable of traveling, through any line that has some sort of power through it. So this is protecting all lines of power coming into your home. The money side is we cover it for 5 years and $100,000 downstream connected equipment coverage. So if anything were to go wrong surge-wise in the house and this guy didn't catch it, we will help cover that customer's appliances. Stepping down, we've got the HEPD 80 with 80 kA of protection, 5 years, $75,000 downstream warranty. A great offer. He's got a flush mount kit for anything inside or outside, or he's NEMA 4X rated with the ability to be nipple mounted onto a surface mounted panel. Again, super simple installation. I put one of these in my dad's house. Took me 15 minutes, including cutting the drywall out to mount him, to give him a nice flush mount look. So the newer option here, and kind of better looking, is our HEPD 50. Not as robust as the HEPD 80, as he's got 50K worth of protection, but looks great in the wall. Same sort of installation as the HEPD 80, where he's type 1 or type 2 rated, meaning you can attach him straight to the bus before the main or after the main, or you can simply add him to a 2-pole breaker. Cover him for 3 years, $50,000 downstream. And guys, these two units come in clamshells now. So great to put kind of at the counter as a last minute visual buy. And great to suggest that your service guys have 2 or 3 in their truck. So if they're making service or warranty, if they're making a warranty call where they're not going to make any money that day, see if they can't sell one of these to that homeowner and say, hey, do you want to protect all of your equipment downstream for this price? Square D is going to cover you for 3 years, $50,000, or 5 years, $75,000. And typically, they put these in for anywhere between $300 and $600 for 15 minutes. Can get them some money made on a day where they probably weren't going to make any. So just some ideas on that, and getting them in front of customers. But for guys that are changing panels out, these are excellent. The plug-on neutral SPDs, they come in the QO, which I don't think we see much of out here on the West Coast, but the home line as well. As long as you have the plug-on neutral interiors, so if they're upgrading a panel and they're using either our solar-ready all-in-ones or the load centers with the plug-on neutral interior, this is a no-brainer, guys. They're inexpensive, and with 50 kA, have enough power to protect your whole house for quite a while. And guys, it plugs in like a breaker, but there's nothing to wire. So you plug it in, close up that dead front, and now you're covered 5 years, $50,000 downstream. And it makes our customers look great without adding a whole lot of extra installation time. So a great offer for our service guys when they're upgrading panels to kind of offer to their customer, and make a little margin in between. That wraps up what we've got on surge protection. If you have any questions on it, or would like to learn more about the individual products, guys, you can check these out on our Digest Plus, or on our website, looking up the individual part numbers just through the document download center there. We've got a lot of great information on this, guys. Thanks for your time. I hope we learned a little bit. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask your local sales rep. All right, thanks.